in the role that you are having right now, what will be your advice for all those women that really wanted to perform in managing teams?
Yeah, I think the best advice is don't think you have to have all the answers. You don't. You bring yourself and, you do the best you can, but it doesn't mean that you as a leader have to know everything or have to have all the answers to everything. It's okay to say, I don't know, we need to figure that out. Or, hey, I'm not sure, I need to go and research this piece, right? It's totally okay to say that to the team.
My guest today is Cristina Daroca, a woman leader who transitioned from a background in environmental science to leading successful marketing teams in the tech industry. Her journey is a powerful demonstration of resilience and adaptability. In this episode, Cristina shares her unique insights on managing diverse teams, the critical roles of vulnerability in leadership, and how aligning sales and marketing through account-based marketing, ABM, can lead to remarkable success. She also shared the challenges of navigating a male-dominated industry and offers valuable advice for women aspiring to leadership roles. So please grab a cup of coffee or tea and get ready to learn and enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Brilliantly Branded podcast.
So welcome one more time to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. As always, women empowerment through the lens of branding is our purpose, our goal. And my guest today is this amazing woman that a part of the marketing world, known for her ability to build and lead successful teams. And that's the reason why she is here with us today. I wanted to give a warm welcome to Cristina Daroca. And she's going to share with us her journey, as I have been explaining, is very unique. She started in Spain. Now she's living and working in the US. I'm not going to spoil everything right now, but the most important part is I think that we are going to have opportunity to learn a lot about how to manage people, how to build teams, and some these key things related with marketing, especially one called ABM, and all these people curious about marketing and how that works. I think that this is going to be a very, very nice episode. So welcome, Cristina. Welcome to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. And the first thing is inviting you to share with us a bit of your background, professional and personal as well, and let our audiences to know a little bit about you.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, so like you said, I am originally from Spain. I was born and raised in Spain and went to school there and then to business school there. And after that, I moved to London for 3 years. So I lived in London, and then life brought me to Boston. My husband is from the Boston area. So we ended up living here 12 years ago now, which seems like crazy because it just flew by.
That's true, yeah. Part of the things that I was research about you is that you got your studies in environmental science. I mean, this is a big probably change coming from the environmental science and now working in marketing. So I'm curious about how this diverse background make you actually build this approach to managing teams.
Yeah, so the two paths kind of came together at one point. I did study environmental sciences. I've always been very, very curious and, very passionate about the environment and climate change and our future in this planet. And so that was what I studied in college. But then I started working in the energy industry, but more on from a marketing perspective. I do have an MBA. I went to business school, so I had a little bit of that business background too. And so at the beginning, I started working for energy companies. So again, having to do with the environment and all of that, but in marketing. And then through a couple of different jobs, I ended up being more on the IT world. So I don't do a lot related to the environment now, but everything has to do with the environment anyway. So we are now seeing how technology companies and IT companies are actually, really concerned about the environment because they have these big data centers and, all the AI and everything that consumes a lot of energy, and we all need to be mindful of that. So yeah, I'm now in marketing. I've been in marketing for about 15 years or so, and loving it and really, really enjoying it.
I can imagine. Yeah, marketing is a special world. And one of the things is how all these previous experiences that you have had now are helping you to have this influential leadership in your teams.
Yeah, I think it's very important to when you're managing a team to really understand that people come from diverse backgrounds, they have different experiences, and because I have a different experience myself, I've been through different cultures, different teams, different ways of doing things. I think that has really helped me as a manager to really understand the folks on my team. I always say you have to adapt to your team members, not have them adapt to you. And so, I really try to understand everyone. Where are they coming from? What motivates them? How do they like to work? How do they like to communicate? And all of those things really shape me as a manager. And thanks to my diverse background, I've been able to really, open my mind to all of those ways of working.
Yeah, well, is managing teams probably in my personal case as well have been probably the most challenging things in life. And challenges are all over the place, all the time are there. But I don't know if you can share with us one of those specific examples when you have been this challenging situation and you have to really navigate it. And so how did you manage that?
Yeah, the hardest challenge I've ever had in my career was a few years ago when unfortunately our company was going through a reduction of force and I had to reduce a few folks on my team. And that was devastating. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my professional life. I had gone through layoffs myself before, so I knew exactly what those folks were going through, what you feel, how helpless you feel, and how hard it is because you have a family, you have bills to pay, and suddenly you're out of a job. So it was really, really hard. It was very hard to give the news to those folks, but also to keep the rest of the team motivated and together and united. It's very hard for the rest of them who are left to pick up the pieces and continue doing the work, right? So that was definitely the biggest challenge I've ever had and the hardest part of my professional life. I always say managing people has very high highs, but also very low lows. And that was definitely the lowest of the lows. But, the way I confronted it was, really being vulnerable and being there for the team and saying, look, we're all going through this together. I'm here for you. I know this is super hard, but we have to continue the work, right? And we have to continue, fighting for this company if we really want to have a company at all, right? And so I was very vulnerable. I was very transparent. I always, trust that folks can handle the information. I don't like to keep anything for myself. I just, I'm transparent and explain what's going on. And yeah, it was the hardest time I've ever had as a manager of people, for sure.
Well, vulnerability is something that we need to bring when these kind of things happen. And I am happy that you now share this with us because sometimes we probably find that as something weak, that you probably it would be not good to be vulnerable and to
Yeah.
really, but the reality is another one. I am happy that you brought that now here because it's a wake up call where we need to realize that this is one of the most important things. And when you manage those teams and, for example, being in marketing, but putting marketing and sales together, that is part of your expertise as well. And it's actually what we call ABM. And I know people are probably curious about that. They have been listening about this or not, but now that I am in front of the expert of that, can you share with us how these two departments can really collaborate in a successful way?
Yeah, so ABM is a term that we use a lot in B2B marketing. It stands for account-based marketing, and it really means, you have a list of accounts that you are trying to go after, a list of companies that you want as your customers. And the sales team has always been working in this way, right? They've always had a list of accounts, a list of targets, and they go and try to sell to them. Us in marketing for the last, 15, 20 years, we were kind of divorced from that idea. And we were just trying to do sort of like, spray and pray. Like we'll put our marketing out there and hope that everybody comes and buys from us, right? Well, it doesn't really work like that. And so in the last 5-10 years, we have been, developing this concept of account-based marketing, where we align very closely with the sales team. We understand what accounts they are going after and what their targets are. And then we align our marketing to that. And I've been a huge advocate of this technique. It's really proven to be very successful across a lot of very successful companies in B2B. And so I really love working with the sales team. It's just a lot of fun. I love seeing their challenges, really aligning with their challenges and understanding how they need to go to market and how we as a marketing team can help them go to market. And yeah, the way to do it, I think, is, again, being very transparent, very communicative. So always communicating what the plan is, what you think you could, how you think you can help them, how you can do things together, and where are, places where you can support them. And then again, being vulnerable and understanding where are they coming from, what are they trying to achieve, and then how we align our goals to their goals too. So really having a good partnership with your sales team is definitely the key.
Is the key. I agree with you. And as a part of a woman managing as a leader of those teams, have you been experimented certain challenges or things, or you have been just going with the flow and leading always with I don't know, you can explain this to us.
So I'm in a very male dominated industry, as most of us are, unfortunately, but the tech and IT world is pretty male dominated. And even though in the marketing world, there is a lot of, female, representatives and a lot of, women who are in leadership positions, the IT world is still very male dominated. So it's not strange to me to, jump into a call and see 10 or 15 men and just me as the only woman or one of the few. And at the beginning of my career, I always kind of thought, or, I kind of bought into the idea that, you had to blend with them and you had to sort of like act like them so that, they would take you as one of the team. I now know that's not the case.
No.
I am a woman and I'm not going to stop being a woman. And so, I'm my own individual and I bring the diversity that I bring to the table. And that's important. We all need to acknowledge that, the more diverse the teams are, the better and the best performers they are. And so, yeah, I bring myself to the table with my perspective, with my ideas, like I said, with my diverse background. And, it doesn't matter if I'm a woman, I'm a man, I bring a new perspective. And that's really what's important, right? So yeah, it's been challenging. It's been a challenging career trying to navigate, male dominated industries.
Yeah.
But at the end, I think we're making progress, which is hopeful. And, yeah, we just have to bring ourselves to the table.
That's true. And do you know, one important thing is how we become these role models. But become the role model is not that easy. So I think that, do you have these essential topics or things that define who you are, like your authenticity? But what qualities do you think or do you believe that are essential to really build these high performing teams, for example?
Yeah, I think empathy is one of the things that I pride myself of really, honing into, because I do think it's so important to be empathetic with the folks you're working with. I always tell my team, when something frustrates you or something, goes against what you're thinking, assume positive intent. Just assume that everybody is trying to do the best thing for the team and not that, someone's trying to go against you or anything like that. And so, yeah, just being empathetic, really understanding where are people coming from? Why is that person saying this? It doesn't seem to be right, but, let's hone into that instead of just attacking each other, right? So yeah, empathy is definitely basic. And then, like I was saying, communication and transparency are very, very key for high performing teams. It's very hard to work in a team if you're not being clear with what you need, what you want, how to do things, what your opinion is. We all have to bring our opinions to the table. So being transparent and communicative is really important too.
Yeah, and in teams always, is you have different levels of performance, but all of those that have a good performance, how do you help them to really continue in the same status, because sometimes because the other are pressuring the team, the group. So keeping those people that are performing well, nurturing them, how do you manage that?
Yeah, I like to motivate them with, giving them opportunities to shine and giving them opportunities, either there's a special project or something new that I want to test and I don't know how to test it, or, things like that. And really have those high performers help me with things like that, where we can, at the end, I know they're going to be able to shine and, present their results to the team and things like that, without meaning, giving more work to some folks and less work to others, because that's not fair.
Yeah.
But really, understanding where someone who has a specific interest, where can they shine, and maybe, build a project around that for them and help them, advance in that way. I've always been a huge fan of helping folks get promoted. And even if that means they have to leave my team or they get, promoted over me, that's totally fine with me. I always hire people who are smarter than me so that they can go higher than me, because that's really where I think I thrive.
This is what a good leader is doing, in fact, because when you see the potential in other and they really are going to perform even better than you, I mean, this is the option to really make them grow, and then you are growing with them as well. It's a big lesson. And actually, part of the things that I want to ask you is for all those women that are aspiring to managing the teams in a different way. I know that leadership is something that it is in ourselves. I mean, we are developing that, but maybe, in the role that you are having right now, what will be your advice for all those women that really wanted to perform in managing teams?
Yeah, I think the best advice is don't think you have to have all the answers. You don't. You bring yourself and, you do the best you can, but it doesn't mean that you as a leader have to know everything or have to have all the answers to everything. It's okay to say, I don't know. We need to figure that out. Or, hey, I'm not sure. I need to go and research this piece, right? It's totally okay to say that to the team. When I started leading at the beginning of my career, I thought I had to have all the answers. And whenever someone asked something I didn't know, I would freak out, right? And I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know this. It doesn't matter. You're not expected to know all the answers. You have to be transparent and just say, I don't know, we'll figure this out, right? What the team really needs from you is your support, you being there to really help them make the decisions, to really help them advance. But it doesn't mean giving them all the answers, right? It's like those of us who have little kids and, you want to protect them and give them everything, but that's not what they need from you. What they need from you is just guidance and support. So it's really about, hey, be vulnerable and be transparent. And when you don't know something, just say it. Hey, I don't know this. That's a good question. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, that is true. And a part of the questions, when you are managing teams, especially interculturally, and now that you are in US, that are, of course, many people coming from many different countries, how do you establish this? How can I explain that? This intercultural management between you and them to try to make the team really going all together without having inconsistencies related with that.
Yeah, I think for me, because I have a pretty diverse background and I have, I've lived in different countries, I've worked with different teams. Our company is international. We work with folks in Europe and in Asia all the time. We do have to have that consistency that you're talking about, and that, communication and really understanding everybody. Not all the cultures communicate in the same way. We don't always, work in the same way. In the US, we're very fast paced and we need everything now. And there's other cultures where that's not the case. And you have to accommodate for all the ways of working. I think I'm privileged in that sense because I do have that experience. And so I try to transmit that to others, right? Other folks who might not have had that experience before. But it's really all about understanding each other, right? If we understand where everybody's coming from, why they're responding in that way, why, just not trying to be, to attack each other. It's really understanding each other.
Yeah, exactly. Having a conversation and
Yeah.
knowing where you are coming from, where the other person are coming from to really understand is empathy, is communication, is one of many things there. I
Mm-hmm.
think that have been a very good conversation that we have had around how to build those teams and how the people can really learn from your experience. I don't know if there is something else, Cristina, that you want to add to this equation of how to build successful teams, because it's key. I mean, managing people for me, and I have to repeat, is one of the most difficult things that I have had living during my career. So what would you advise to people actually to get it that good deal with that?
Yeah, I would say it's a journey, like everything. I wasn't a good manager when I first managed folks, and I had to learn, and it's really, and I'm still learning. It's really a journey, a journey. Be patient with yourself and with others. It's all about learning every day. And yeah, if you're just starting off in your career and you think management is a path for you and it's something that you want to do, seek some opportunities where you can actually manage folks, and start small. And again, it's a journey. Be patient, be transparent, try to understand others, and I'm sure you'll succeed.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Cristina, have been a pleasure having you here, sharing your knowledge, your experience, and being in the Brilliantly Branded podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.
Thank you, Cristina.
We hope you have been inspired by this content and join us for future episodes of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. We will continue exploring the power of branding and the stories behind successful brands. And remember, if you know a woman who has built a successful brand with a unique approach and a story to share, please refer them to our podcast. We would love to learn from their experiences and share their story with our listeners. Stay tuned for most episodes of Brilliantly Branded, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel for more branding insights and women empowerment. Until the next episode, ciao ciao.